A very warm welcome to my lovely audience. Today we have with us Mr. Ishijyot Surri, who's a passionate chef and a culinary lover. He has many notable achievements in his career, and today we'll have a look into his wonderful journey. So, hi, sir, how are you, and how does it feel to be here?
Hi, Shruthee. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's pretty much welcoming to join you and interview with you. So, yeah, it's thank you for the opportunity. Rather, it's
Yeah, of
a
course.
honor.
Yeah, we're pleased to have you. So, can we get started with the questions?
Sure.
Okay. So, first, can you tell us what inspired you to pursue in the field of career? In the
Uh,
food career.
so my inspiration started when I was very young, because my grandfather really told me that because we had a hotel boarding lodging business. So in that he always said that the crux or the heart of our business lies in the kitchen. Because
Okay.
if we are having a good control on our food, that is the only reason somebody comes back to us for, because that's one of the base experiences that is required to run the show successfully, and that is the place where people really come back to you and have a recall value more than the aesthetics of a place, because
Yeah.
aesthetics can be great, but your food and your love towards food cannot be copied. It's everybody's individuality on that. So
Yeah.
that was my starting, and then I have been inspired by two of the chefs from Taj President. One is Chef Ananda Solomon, who I worked under, and along with him, Chef Udipan. So they were the two inspirations that guided me in their own way to, getting into what I am today. So a lot of my efforts or my restaurant opening was all thanks to them, because they told me one very simple thing, that you have to be hands-on. As long as you're hands-on as a chef, you can't falter. So they kept that thing going for me.
Yeah. I think that was beautifully said. So yeah, so could you tell us something about your exploration of diverse culinary traditions from, from North India to Turkish cuisines?
Yeah, so this is more because I'm a traveler. So this
Yeah.
happens when we travel across the globe. So you get a lot of inspiration, or you start learning more about food. So
Yeah.
when it comes to the Turkish food, I used to be traveling to Turkey for my other works, and I had friends there. So when I went there, the first thing I realized was they are pretty much a very, we could say, very subtly flavored cuisine, but
Okay.
where they give a lot of importance to the meat. The real flavor of the meat is the most important thing that they look at. So, I like that twist. And being an Indian, we associate a lot with rice and breads. So they also
Yeah.
had that. The only difference that I was finding was, the gravy part of us was missing in Turkish cuisine. But that was again there. I found the adaptability towards Indian food or the Indian palate pretty much there. So that fascinated me to really go towards that cuisine. And with experience and working there, I realized that yeah, there is a lot of similarities between our foods. Only the spice levels are lower, and there
Yeah.
it's a cuisine worth trying. And also that the Turkish food is pretty much a Mediterranean, or you have the Lebanon touch, you have a Persian touch. It's a good blend. So it is one cuisine that's evolved with time. So it's one of the very upcoming cuisines. So that's what
Yeah.
really took me towards it. Coming back to the North Indian, being a pure hardcore Punjabi, I think that proves me having my foothold there in the North Indian food. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was inspired by my grandmother and all, because they said that is one thing that a Punjabi can't go wrong with is food, and Punjabi food is a homegrown thing. So a lot of traditional food that I try to keep, and a lot of old recipes where my grandmother, my nani, all of them have really contributed to it. There's a little tweak that we do as chefs so that it's more
Yeah.
appealing to the eye nowadays. Because nowadays people eat food in three ways: once in anticipation, once in visualization, and then in taste. So by the time they reach
Yeah.
the taste, the first two need to be covered.
Yeah.
That's the real
You know,
reason for it.
yeah, it's very relatable, first, they always say first the eyes eats and then only, we actually taste it. Yeah. And, how do you ensure authenticity while incorporating innovative twists in your dish across different cultures and flavors? Because, at some places you had to maintain that authenticity with the something new from which you're creating.
So that's exactly where the twist comes in. As chefs, we are here to make sure people enjoy what they eat. But at
Yeah.
the same time, we have to be very close to our roots, because the real flavor or the real essence lies in maintaining the authenticity of a dish. So what we try to do is we try to create one accompaniment or one spice in that takes the higher note, or
Yeah.
maybe the way it is presented. We try to change the presentation stylization, but keeping
Okay.
the authenticity in mind. Because in food, the more simpler you keep, the more fascinating the food is. It's
Yeah.
actually just combining them. Like nowadays, people come with a DIY shawarma. It's nothing else. It's just the way you're plating it in a way, but you've kept the authenticity of the dish in place. So even for a biryani nowadays, people come with the white biryani. So again,
Yeah.
that is the way we present it. Is a little tweaked with the salad on side. Somebody put it on top. So that type of small innovations, I think twists are good. But trying to really recreate a recipe is, without the authenticity is a really big no. So we've done one recipe like this. Is the rasmalai tres leches. So the word
Yeah.
tres leches is coming from the Mexican
Yeah.
inspiration. So we've done the tres leches, but what we're really doing is we are doing a rasmalai, and I'm doing it with the Indianized rabdi. So we've got the
Oh,
flavors in
okay.
the same format. So the way they have, it's an inspiration. It's not a changeover. We are also maintaining the authenticity of the rasmalai, but only we're giving a
Yeah.
rasmalai with rabdi. So if you really go to it, it's a good fancy name, but you come to the authenticity, we really maintain that in the dish. So
Yeah.
that's the way we play around with the dishes.
I think that is very beautifully described because, you don't find, I mean, I would really be excited if I could find and have dishes which are, both compensates, the cultural authentic aspect as well as the taste and as well as the other countries' cuisines. It's very interesting. Yeah. So with that, I'd like to ask, could you share a creative process behind developing the brands like the pickled chick and the nutty sing?
Yeah. So again, these are brands that are very close to my heart, and they've really been curated with very different reasonings. Like if you go up north in North India, we are very fascinated with a lot of pickles. But you see, the world is all across doing only pickles that are vegetarian based. But
Okay.
if in old India, if you go to see, or you could say in the undivided India rules, there are a lot of meat pickles that are very much there in the colder regions. So that is the thing that inspired me to do a little nostalgia for meat eaters, and we started off with the brand, the pickle chick. So in pickle chick, what I've really tried to do is I've tried to do an adaptation of different states, and from each state, I've taken one dish that is a dish that people there really connect with, and I've tried to adapt that into the pickle. So we have something like a Punjabi butter chicken pickle. So that really takes you back and gives you a little bit nostalgia of the product. We have got the bhut jaloke, that's a really spicy pickle again. Then we have the Andhra pickle. So we've done it. I plan to do it with all the different states. We will dedicate one to each. For Goa, we've done the Vindaloo. So we've taken the Vindaloo as you could say the inspiration from Vindaloo, and done it into a chicken pickle. So yeah, these are things that we feel are the next little nostalgia factor also coming in, and also getting people to. We would rather say that I'm expecting people to start owning the product. So people who come from the Kerala region, they will own that product, saying, "Okay, the Kerala pickle really reminds me of the way my grandmother used to make at home." So
Yeah.
our aspiration for that brand comes from there, and we want to keep a little niche in that where people are really being able to go back to their childhood memories. So
Yeah.
that comes in for me the culture. Nutty Singh is a brand that I have realized is a lot of people want to have flavors in even dry fruits.
Yeah.
So I realized that just giving a salted dry fruit is not the end of the world, but that's the only thing that you really get good in the market.
Yeah.
So I came out with a thing where we are adding nice flavors, where as a chef I can do all the twists possible. So it gives me a good avenue to really excite my guests. It keeps me excited as well, because you can play with the chili and saffron, you can play with cashew, you can do with raisins. So it's a very multi flavorful area. So Nutty Singh was created with that aspiration that people nowadays in weddings want to do something different. So this is more created for people to give more high-end respect, or the way they want to present their platters to people. So it was more on those lines. Nutty Singh was created to cater to your wedding needs and your daily binging, healthy binging rather. So that's
Yeah.
where nothing is positioned. Yeah.
Yeah, that was very, creative and a unique way of describing it. And you know how it's very relatable when you think of pickle and all you remember is your grandmother and grandfather. Yeah. So, so I've noticed your Instagram page and your YouTube channels. It has been very inspiring. So with that, I'd like to ask, how do you utilize technology and social media to connect with your audience and share your culinary knowledge with them?
I think thanks to social media like Instagram and YouTube, I'm getting a chance to connect with people I don't even know existed in a
Yeah,
purview, or I don't. I think it's been one of the biggest achievements working through the social media, because you really connect with people, you get a lot of knowledge. There's so many aspiring chefs that write to us asking small questions, and in every question there's a learning. I always feel that that social media has given us a broader scope. At the same time, it's given you a little more cautiousness also. I would say that when we are there in the front, people look up to us. So when we talk something, we have to be very careful that it is really researched and given, because people really respect whatever we talk. So the social media has played a very big role in keeping me also updated. So we'll go work on looking at the new trends, then writing and talking about the trends that are taking place. So that's how social media comes into a very significant part of running it.
yeah. I'm really glad that, the social media handle helped you in collaborating with others. So yeah. So if it's not obvious, you're a guest on MasterChef India. So, with that, how do you approach mentoring the contestants, and what advice would you share with them for, for their upcoming or for their aspiring career of becoming a chef?
So, when I was mentoring, the first thing that really came to my mind was when I myself was a trainee, how people used to guide me. So I always tell that the way you guide somebody, the world is a round circle.
Yeah,
So when you're aspiring as a chef, you have to aspire to really following what you really want to do. So I always tell that if I get a chance to sit with chefs and tell them is I want them to cook with their hands, keep their hands dirty even at whatever age, so that you're hands on. It's a passion. If you cook with a passion, you will always be successful. And cooking should be more of a passion rather than work, because when you take it as passion, every day you are aspiring to something new. So it
yeah,
really keeps you going. And also, I want to tell a lot of upcoming chefs that you have to read about what you're doing. You need to learn about techniques. Keep
yeah,
yourself available on social media, because today, till you do not showcase your talent, there is a world that is ready to accept your talent. So you need to showcase it, and people are there. So as aspiring chefs, work towards having your basic knowledges in place. Work as keeping food as your hobby, not as a work. So the day you keep it as a hobby, and whatever you cook, you should be able to consume yourself. So as a chef, whatever we cook, if we can consume it, we will never go wrong. So there should never be an aspiration that I'm making something, but I don't know how I will consume it. So sell what you can consume. You will always be a successful chef.
Again, that was very beautifully said, how you should see cooking as a profession and not as a work. Yeah. So, with that, I'd like to ask, how has your outdoor catering SGI Gourmet has earned recognition under your leadership?
Uh, Under my leadership, SGI Gourmet was really a brand that I want to do with outdoor catering, but more than the outdoor catering, I've become a kids caterer. So I've become more having a lot of child friendly menus that we do. So we have a lot of birthday parties, a lot of kids aspiring to be chefs, they want us to do DIY counters. So, that vertical has given me even a bigger avenue because we get a lot of testing grounds. Our SGI catering is where I tell guests that you come up with a theme and I will cook for you as per your theme. So we do a theme-based cooking there. So, it gives us more knowledge. It gives us more to learn towards. It gives us a lot of avenues to think about when we are making a new menu. So it keeps me going up with the trends. And we have a lot of guests that are very happy with our food because we do two things. Is there's a personal touch. We try to give every guest a personal touch when it comes to his requirements.
Yeah.
We make sure that the food is circulated till the last guest is available.
Yeah.
So, that is one of our USPs. And apart from that, we try to get guests as a part of our meal. So it's a menu is not just a menu. It's something that we try to tell guests that you give us three best items or that you eat. So we write it out in a menu like, okay, if your name is like mine is Ishijyot. So I said Ishijyot's North Indian favorites. So when there is a connect to the guest. So when somebody comes in, so we break it up within the family. So if you have 5 people in the family, if we are having 10 dishes, we dedicate each dish to somebody in the house. So that keeps our guests more, keeps us one highlight away from the other caterers. So that's the way we are going about it.
That's very wholesome and a unique idea, how these small things actually matters. Yeah. So you also own a brand named Tea Leaf Time, right? So what is the inspiration and creation behind both coming?
So, Tea Leaf Time is actually a brand that I created after getting my certification as a tea blender and tea sommelier for India. So now, after having those registrations, during my study, I realized that tea itself is a very big culture, and the culture of tea that is there is getting lost because every time tea is just drunk for the sake of drinking. People have it during their break time, but tea needs to be given its time right from the brewing process to consumption process. So if you give tea its time, it's a real relaxant to the body. It is as good as you're doing a meditation. It's as beautiful as that. So I created the brand called Tea Leaf Time because when I realized that the concept of tea is really cherished when you give it this respected time. So the brand created on that, and in that we are doing only the type of teas that I work on are a lot of fruit based, a lot of high quality teas that people really want. So we've done things like a meditating tea. We've done a little Ananda tea. So the people who want to really calm their bodies, we've done that. So people who want to go in for cleansers, we have used hibiscus and lemongrass. So this is more of a brand that is there to cater to your body getting more comfortable. At the same time, when you give the tea its time, it really gives you a nice, you could say, a good, comforting, soothing feeling where you are leaving your stress out. So I would call it a stress buster time. So instead of calling it that, I've given it the name Tea Leaf Time. So that's how the name and the brand has been created.
I really appreciate the efforts because, apart from being and selling it as a brand, you have uniquely thought about many small things which can actually make it better and feel, homely and wholesome. Yeah. So we've spoke a lot about traditional food and all that. So with that, I like to ask, apart from traditional food and modern food, there are also traditional techniques and modern techniques in which you prepare the food. So how do you maintain a balance between traditional culinary techniques and modern culinary innovations in your restaurants?
So, there is a very big importance to honoring our age-old techniques because the crux or the heart of our food is not just the vegetable or the oil. Even the utensil, the type of utensil that is cooked in,
Okay.
creates a lot of difference. So we do respect that, and I try to maintain that with taking the older type of equipment, but with the newer modern technology, whereby we are using motorized equipments, but instead of doing everything in aluminum, we have something in copper, we have something in brass. So there are few dishes that are done only by doing it with the mortar pestle. So today, mortar pestle, you don't have people doing it. So then we've taken a full motorized mortar pestle. So we are really using technology to our advantage, whereby we are getting a lot of our products that were age old, but we are getting them innovated with the modern equipments and attaching them. So I'm trying to balance the two in that format. But yeah, the difference in taste is really there when you cook,
Yeah.
because the age old guys, each dish was different, is not because it was cooked differently. The spices were not only the reason, but even the equipment that we used, or the base like a brass or a copper that was used to cook the dish in, really enhanced its flavor. So I'm trying to maintain that in the restaurants as well.
That was a very precise and informative piece of description. So yeah, that was my last question, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, for agreeing to do this. And it was a very good conversation. As I'm a South Indian, so I had a different point of view from what you explained and what you said. It was really wholesome, really unique, and very motivating, very inspiring, in fact. So, thank you for your time. I hope you had a good time as well with me as well.
Yes, yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I told you it's all thanks to your opportunity. I will get to connect with more people. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for your future.